there's that weird cuddle scene in the bed where you're like, oh, okay.
It is kind of a weird thing because you're like, oh, I was never, not even at like, I never had to share a bed with my brothers.
It was a different time.
Look, we had bunk beds, all right? It was the 90s in my day. We had bunk beds.
That's how you knew you came from royalty.
Yeah.
From money.
Yeah, you're with the bunk beds, not just one bed.
Where the bottom bed was more of a queen.
Yeah,
and
it was
the top
like
was a twin.
That was like a full size.
Oh, yeah.
Top was a twin.
Oh, yeah.
I never got the top bunk.
Definitely not.
I got dibs on top.
Until I did one time, and my mom had removed the gate.
Oh,
and I definitely rolled off and hit my head on.
Oh God!
Yeah,
no,
explains a lot, man.
It does.
Yeah, it does. Wow, great to meet you again.
What are we doing here?
Well, hello and welcome to the Confused Breakfast. Do you remember the pure joy of a trip to the video rental store as a kid?
Sure do.
It's hard to beat the ease of the modern era and streaming platforms where you don't even have to leave your couch, but there was something truly special about greasing your hair back and heading to Blockbuster on the way home to pick out a movie by hand and watch when you got there. On this podcast, we revisit and dissect some of our favorite childhood movies from that magical era to see if they still move us the way they did as kids. My name is Mike Schulte. Joining me as always, two dudes who are so greasy, they glide when they walk. They go to the barber for an oil change, not a haircut. Sean Ponyboy Pryor and AJ Soda Pop Vens, how the heck are you?
I feel like you need black hair in order to grease your hair.
Yeah, you can't grease blonde hair.
Or even brown. Like I feel like that would look horrible.
Although I do think the grease actually darkens your hair.
Oh.
Darkens.
So like if you have brown hair, like your color hair right now with grease in it would be like, it'd be dark.
Be
color.
Fire?
Yeah, it'd be fire, bro.
Be lit?
Be lit.
Would be why I lit it?
If any of us in this room are actually like born in the 60s, you'd be a greaser more than me and AJ.
Fuck yeah, dude.
No, it's Sean Pryor. I really thought that we were going to do that. And then, so that's why I just wore a black shirt. And then I was like, well, if no one else is going to do it, then I'm not going to roll up my sleeves.
Oh, we could.
And I'll just try to blend in. That'll be fine.
I think you blend well.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, dude.
Well, boys, on today's episode, we discuss a movie with a plot as old as time, rich versus poor, Soch versus greaser, opposite sides of town. A movie that contains Ralph Macchio's favorite character he's ever played. A movie that likely holds the record for featuring and introducing the most young actors in the early stages of their careers who would later star in leading roles in future movies. A movie that apparently has Nick Cage in it. I guess
he's here somewhere.
Well, I don't know.
That's why he's.
We thought he was here. And he's not, so it's fine.
We're not gonna light the candle, but the candle's gonna be here. Just wait till next week. The candle will be lit.
Yes,
just like my hair.
Say goodbye to Patrick Swayze with us as we discuss 1983's The Outsiders.
Yeah, dude.
Well, dang it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another nostalgic journey to the past with The Confused Breakfast. Sit back, relax, and enjoy wherever you are in the world. Take it away, boys.
Well, if you are new to this podcast, we're going to be reviewing this movie scene by scene with a modern eye, but in order to do that properly, we got to discuss it with pure nostalgia. Sean, we're going to go to you. Tell us the first time you saw this movie and what your thoughts were back in the day.
I think my mom showed me this movie to make me a better man, perhaps.
Oh.
I'm not sure if it worked or not.
Interesting strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it plays out.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that I even watched like the edited down version of this. We need to discuss that. Obviously, we will. But yeah, I remember certain scenes from this movie. I remember Karate Kid died, and
I mean, he did.
Yeah, and that always
spoilers.
It always like I thought
Jeez,
like
dude.
back then when I watched movies and people died in them, I thought they actually died.
Yeah,
So I just thought Ralph Macchio
Oh.
was dead. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen this movie subsequently in school. Obviously, never read the book. I'm gonna give this a 4.7.
4.7. AJ, what about you? Do you need me to go while you're rolling up your sleeves?
No, dude. It's cool. I'm just rolling up my sleeves. I need to make sure my
Christ.
fucking guns were shot.
gotta
It's
even out
taking
that tan.
longer. I know. I'm getting that.
Regretting it instantly.
This is that farmer's tan, not the greaser's tan that I was trying to go for. Apparently, I missed the boat.
Farmer's golfer's tan.
Yeah, farmer's golfer's tan. Hey, this does take place in Nebraska, so I'm just saying, felt really close to home, guys. This movie, I tried to watch it so many times when I was a kid. I tried so hard to watch. Now Sean has to roll up the sleeves on that hoodie.
It's gonna destroy.
And it's going to be one of those things where it's like you can't fold a piece of paper more than 7 times. It's just like, it's just going to be like,
can't put my arms down.
I will tell you this, like I would try to watch this movie so many times as a kid, and like I finally end up like getting through it when I was like 15. Finally got through it, and I just didn't get it because it just felt so disjunct. Like it felt like it was all over the place. I didn't. When you're watching a movie at that age, I feel like it's something you want to get to know the characters. You want to get to know what's going on, motive, all that good stuff. Movie things, and well, character development, nah. You want to hear all and see all that stuff, and when you're that age, and I just never got any of that. So honestly, I'll give this a nostalgic rating. I will give this a 4.25.
Wow.
4.25. I don't know what happened here because I keep hearing all these stories of like, oh yeah, we read the book and then we watched the movie in school.
Yeah.
I never even saw this movie ever. Like it was never shown to me in school.
Wow.
I never really knew it existed other than just kind of hearing vague things of its passing. Just I never even knew what this was about.
It's weird because the 60s are like your time.
I know, dude. I'm so old, bro.
Dude, you're just like so old. And take a drink, right, guys?
I'm an NA on that. But we do have an executive producer, Bud Larsen, here with us today. He says, I remember reading the book in 7th or 8th grade.
There we go.
After reading books in school, if the book was made into a movie, we would watch the movie too. Then we'd have to write a book report on the big differences between the two. I think I might have watched it a few times on TBS. All I remember about the movie was greasers and socias. Nostalgic reading, 6 even. So that is a 4.92 for the group nostalgically. 4.92 is bottom 10. That is just below Aliens, just above Groundhog Day.
Did you guys not see Aliens or
Nope.
something?
That must have been it.
No, we were all like, we were scared shitless.
Yeah, we were
of
like,
aliens.
I'm not watching that.
Why would I watch this?
Oh, yeah, I bet AJ would love a movie called Aliens. The fuck? Come on, Sean.
Well, just a friendly reminder, guys, if you love this podcast, want to support us, here's the best ways to do it. Number 1, support our sponsors. These are the companies that keep our lights on. Click the link in the notes. Grab their products. We genuinely love these things. Number 2, sponsor us directly. Patreon.com/confusedbreakfast. Best way to get more confused breakfast in your life. So many extra perks. Go check it out. Number 3, share this episode.
Just do it.
Just hit the little share icon. Send it to somebody. Text it to them. Say, you love The Outsiders. You love Emilio. You love Karate Kid.
Yep.
Watch this. Listen to it. That's it. We love you guys so much.
Thank you.
But now we're going to strip away all the nostalgia that you guys have. I'm going to strip your nostalgia away for you.
Okay.
And we're going to
Ouch.
learn the important details of the movie from Sean. What do you got on this one, buddy?
Produced by Fred Ross and Gray Fredrickson. Screenplay by Kathleen Rowell. Based on the novel by S.E. Hinton. Why do they do that? Why do authors do that?
Southeast Hinton. I don't know.
Cinematography by Stephen H. Burram, who also did The Entity. Watch that movie if you want a bad time. The Untouchables. It's all about ghosts. That's all that movie is.
So is
She just keeps
Ghostbusters.
getting-
Ghostbusters?
She keeps
Yeah.
by a ghost. It just keeps happening.
Can you not say that word? I think we need to make it at least 15 minutes before the scrubs.
Entity?
Yeah.
He also did The Untouchables, AJ. Worked with...
Not so much with the...
No.
Okay.
much how
The Touchables.
much how they
As opposed to the Touchables is the one you mentioned before. Okay.
worked with Brian De Palma a couple times after that. And did well. That was Brian De Palma, but as like they get
That's what
their
he used
way.
to touch was the
He
palm.
also did Carlito's Way,
Yeah.
Mission Impossible, which it should be, and then St. Elmo's Fire, which is also just
Yeah, what?
as bad as the R Word. Music by Carmine Coppola. Also did Apocalypse Now.
Are they related?
Yes.
Okay.
Coppola. Jesus Christ. You got me all turned around.
Are you serious?
Pronounce it different.
You got me turned around.
Oh my God.
Coppola. Not to be confused with Coppola.
Sean's the film nerd on this podcast too.
Apocalypse Now. And he also did the goddamn Godfather 1
Okay.
through 3.
I've heard of those.
Yeah. Directed by Francis Ford Coppola. Cast.
You sure?
Francis
they do is laugh.
Ford Coppola. All right? Don't revoke my Cinemaster.
Mute AJ's mic for a little bit. Let Sean get through this.
Cast: C. Thomas Howell, Matt Dillon, Ralph Macchio, Rob Lowe, Emilio Estevez, Tom Cruise, Glenn Withrow, Diane Lane, Leif Garrett, Darren Dalton, Tom Waits, Cam Neely, and Patrick Swayze. The novel The Outsiders was a very famous book originally published in 1967, with it being distributed in schools all across America for its timeless lesson of always making sure to have a kind heart. The idea for an adaptation to the big screen had floated around, but never quite could get the development it needed to become a film. That was until a school teacher from Lone Star Elementary in Fresno, California, wrote a letter to Francis Ford Coppola telling him he would be perfect man. He would be the perfect man for the job, and asking him if he would do it. Charmed by the letter, which included 15 pages of children's signatures, Coppola had no intention of even thought of doing it until he received that kind letter. It's just weird because you read this novel and you like pretty much prescribe it to your students. And you're like, who would be good with this? The director of Apocalypse Now and The Godfather.
It's a bit strange.
Timothy Hutton, Sean Penn, Mickey Rourke, Scott Baio, and Dennis Quaid all auditioned for roles but did not get them. With a who's who of the Brat Pack in the 80s as Coppola's greasers, Ralph Macchio felt like he was a bit of an outsider when it came to auditioning. Most of the pack knew each other or had worked with each other, but not Macchio. Macchio would recall in an interview that Coppola had the boys switch roles and say lines of a different character, and everyone, as opposed to everyone in the room. Macchio also recalled that Tom Cruise went ballistic when he had to share a room with Macchio, or anyone for that matter.
Cruise?
This is pre-Cruise.
Bit of a diva.
Yeah.
This is before Center Tooth Cruise.
Yeah, this is messed up teeth Cruise,
Yeah. Right.
which then became Center Tooth Cruise, and then became Scientology Cruise.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Swayze was cast due to his convincing performance in the
on
film
Cruising.
Skate Town, USA. And
Oh, yeah.
Val Kilmer was approached with a role but turned it down.
Wow. I heard a story about that.
That would have been a great ad.
I heard a story about whatever movie Val was working on. He really wanted to do this, but he found out that if he were to leave that other movie, that the movie would get scrapped.
It was a Broadway play that he was on.
Yeah, that's what it was. So he loyally said, "Nah, I got to
Yeah.
stick with this." In for everyone involved. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that story.
Principal photography began on March 29th, 1982, and was shot on location in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Filming was quite jovial throughout. As far as the Brat Pack went, they would pull pranks on crew and cast members constantly, targeting C. Thomas Howell and Diane Lane the most. Ralph Macchio didn't participate in the shenanigans, citing that he wanted to focus on his character and get the scenes right. I respect that about him, and I know you said in the intro to this that he thinks this is his favorite
His
role.
favorite character.
His favorite character
that
he's ever played. I can definitely see that. I can definitely see that, it's a pretty pivotal goddamn character. Filming concluded in May of 1982, and with the original cut being 2 hours and 13 minutes, the studio felt that was a waste of time, and he should cut it down to 91 minutes for theatrical release. Years after, fans of the novel would berate Coppola for leaving the key scenes from the book, not knowing that the director had shot those scenes but was forced to cut them out. This led to the film being recut to its original 2-hour runtime and included solid key scenes. The Outsiders was released on May 25th, 1983, and on a budget of $10 million, the film made $33.7 million at the box office and has since been shown in classrooms all over the country when the teacher just wants a damn break. That's it.
Well, thanks, Sean. Up next, we got to go to AJ. He does the research for us to get the fans, critics, ratings, and reviews that we can talk about. What do you got on this one, man?
Stay gold, pony boy. Stay gold.
Stay gold.
Not green. Not gold. Stay. What about red?
Oh,
the tomato meter's here.
gross.
I tried to take it a certain way, guys. It's
good.
fine.
I
It's
knew we were
70%. It's 70%. It is red. It's not green. It is red.
70% ties with Mrs. Doubtfire and Starship Troopers of the movies we've done so far.
Anytime I think of those two movies, I
Yeah.
automatically have The Outsiders pop in my
This
head.
is like,
No,
that would be
makes
the
a lot
best
of
triple
sense.
feature of all time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just put it on. Just see what happens.
Audiences feel a little bit better than that. Is 82% on Rotten Tomatoes from the audience, but IMDb is right in line, 7.0.
Our second week in a row with a 7.0. That is 15 movies that we have done have a 7.0 on IMDb. That is up to 9% of every movie we've done is a 7.0.
I wonder what our most rating is of
It's
the movies
that.
that we go. Like
Oh, ours?
Yeah,
Okay, I
our
will look that up.
collectively.
I will look that up.
Oh, see.
Yeah.
I wonder where we land as far as like an IMDb
Like
curmudgeon.
an average,
Yeah.
like our overall total average of a movie rating. Yeah, that would be fun to know. I don't know if we'll know it though. Maybe Mike will know it. Guys, we've got the Boston Globe, 75 out of 100. This is one of the highest ratings that I could find out there. Well, that would be reliable. The director gives us a small, sincere, and nearly perfect realized film about adolescence in Oklahoma, aptly entitled The Outsiders. I thought it was Nebraska. Is it Oklahoma?
they shot in Tulsa.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Roger Ebert had a great kind of short and sweet layout of this movie. So I will go through that. This is a 63 out of 100. So that means, what is that? Like 2.5 stars out of 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever. He did really give us some great stuff. The thin narrative material for The Outsiders, it only adds up to about 90 minutes of movie. But even then, there are scenes that seem to be killing me. Nothing that happens in this movie seems necessary. It's all arbitrary. He goes on to say that the problem, I'm afraid, is with Coppola's direction. He seems so hung up with his notions of a particular movie look, quote unquote, with his perfectionistic lighting and framing and composition, and the characters wind up like pictures framed and hanging on the screen. One of the big lines from this review was that the kids and all the stars, the kids end up seeming trapped inside too many layers of storytelling. I get it. Okay, it's fine. There was a bad one out there from some of those. Dave Kerr was my lowest rating that I could see out there from the Chicago Reader. Francis Ford Coppola's gang film is as moony about death as One from the Heart was over romance. The film is unremitted in its morbid sentimentality, running its teenage characters through a masochistic gamut of beatings, killings, burnings, and suicides. Wowzers. Let's take it easy there, okay?
Sounds like it has stakes.
Right?
Sounds like there's conflict.
God, there might have been something worth fighting for in this movie. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess.
Jeez.
There was a 9 out of 10 that I found that I thought was that I want to go ahead and disagree with the title of this. Skip the complete novel version. Again, this is a 9 out of 10. This is in 2021, December 2021. The added scenes provided some value, but the horrible new soundtrack absolutely ruins the movie. The new music sounds like something from a cheesy 60s surfer movie and destroys every scene, especially the rumble. Do you guys? How about? Okay, I will give you. Let's go. Warning spoilers. Okay, and then I've got one more for you here. The worst. It makes The Godfather Part 3 look good. Said Torque Mama 2002.
Torque Mama.
Torque Mama. Happy Mother's Day.
That's literally the best thing that I've heard ever.
Torque Mama.
Torque Mama.
2002. Don't
I
get.
wonder what she thinks of Gone in 60 Seconds.
She loves the whole Fast and the
Days
Furious
of Thunder.
franchise.
She models her entire life after Angelina Jolie in Gone in 60 Seconds. Blonde dreadlocks, weird, that kind of thing. Warning, spoilers. I was a huge fan of the book when I first read it in 1982. Torque Mama. I was excited later to learn that a motion picture adaptation was being made, that Coppola was directing it. Later that spring, I saw the movie and was thoroughly disgusted. The movie was cramped and hacked and was a mess. Even though a major part of the junior high school population has read the book, it would have been nice that some care was taken into consideration making this movie. There was no character development, no explanations of action, no real action at all. It was supposed to be this art film for kids, and it was a celluloid failure. I love it when people use the word celluloid in their reviews. No knew why Johnny hated his parents. No one knew how the Curtises became orphans. Soda has a girlfriend who mysteriously left town, and no one knew why Dallas was the way he was. The movie was terrible, and it's all Coppola's fault. That was the last line. That's honestly the whole reason I wanted to read that one.
It's all Coppola's fault.
It's all Coppola's fault.
It is.
Oh, I'll give you guys one more here, okay? Because, well, you guys know why. By the end of this is a 2 out of 10. I love finding those like weird intermediate ones. Are you kidding? Said MRW_Tig.
That's always worth a click.
Yeah,
I gotta read this one.
Are you kidding? This is August 7th, 2001. I can't believe all the glowing reviews on this site of this film. I found it overly sentimental, not at all compelling, not well acted, and sorry about this. I know he's an icon, but not well directed. Ooh. My suggestion, you might as well just say it with me. Don't waste your time. There it is, guys.
Well, real quick, so I did a little research there. So I have rated 8 movies, a 7.
Okay.
AJ has rated 9 movies, a 7.1. And Sean has rated 16 movies, an 8.0.
Wow.
So if you go off of that, I also threw in 6 8s. AJ threw in 4 8s. I would believe that 8.0 is probably our most given out rating that we've done so far.
Right on. Right on.
Well, boys, it's
And
time
they
to...
deserved it. All of them.
They really did. Well, boys, it's time to go scene by scene and dissect this movie with a modern eye. But first, like we always do, like we've done from day one, we read a poem. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. Amen.
Stay gold.
Stay gold.
So scene 1, the film opens with greaser Ponyboy Curtis sitting at his desk in his room writing. He flashes back to when he was beaten up by a group of rich kids called Southside Socias. After being rescued, Ponyboy and 2 other greasers named Johnny and Dallas go to a drive-in movie and sit in the bleachers. Dallas harasses a girl named Cherry, who's just left the car of her Soch date. Dallas leaves and Pony goes with Cherry to the concession stand. After the movie's over, their friend 2-Bit joins and they're walking together when Cherry's boyfriend stops and harasses them. To avoid a violent fight, Cherry reluctantly goes with Bob. Before we start, can we discuss who watched what version of this movie? And by the way, I'm so fucking sick of there being multiple versions of movies.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so sick of it.
I watched 2 hours of this movie.
So you watched the full the
complete novel.
It's the one that's come out after the fact.
Yeah.
Many years after the fact, called the complete novel. That is the extended director's cut version.
And we will get into it, but and it could be a flaw of mine. It could not be that I can't tell the difference. So what did you guys watch?
I can immediately. Which one did you watch?
Well, I watched both.
Okay, I watched the original theatrical cut first.
Okay.
And then, of course, in reading about this, I'm like, God damn it.
You're like, well, I guess I have to.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then I went back and watched the other one. And I'll tell you what I noticed right off the bat, watching the theatrical version for the first time ever, never seeing this movie, I have no clue what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're literally like, he's writing a book, and then they're in the street. Dallas meets him, and they go, and that's how this movie starts.
That's what I remember from watching it as a kid.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how it started.
Which is the original version of this movie.
Okay.
Which is why I don't understand how people liked the original.
Thank you. I completely agree with you, because I've tried so many times, even like later on when I'm trying to do my like pretentious movie watching part of my life, right? Well, The Outsiders, I'm going to love this movie because I love The Goonies and Stand By Me and all these other like coming of age movies. Look at all the amazing cast in this movie. And you watch it, you're just like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like I just walked in. I feel like this is classic AJ, where I didn't see the first 20 minutes of the movie.
He says,
and then I come in and I'm just like, oh, okay.
His storyline is, as I walked out of the movie house, I opened my eyes.
Yeah.
I stepped out into the light
from the movie house.
Yes.
In the original version, there's no movie house. What are we talking about?
It's just Dallas standing at that light pole against the pole.
Exactly what it is.
And him and Two
Johnny.
Bit. Him and Johnny walking up to that and saying, what are we going to do? Well, nothing legal, haha. And it's like, okay, I guess this is fun. I understand like maybe the angle they're going for, but I think it was a miss.
Completely.
Yeah.
But then in watching the extended version, you see this whole entire opening. He starts writing the book. He steps out of the movie house and then gets chased and beaten up by Socias and then rescued by all our main characters. And we don't see any of that.
None of that.
In the theatrical release.
Think about, and I could bring it up later, but again, we're in the moment of it right now that I don't want to forget it. You think about that, and you think about how soon we now see guys like Tom Cruise actually get some Tom Cruise time. We actually get some Patrick Swayze time. We actually get a little bit of Soda Pop time, of Rob Lowe time. All those things, we actually get that in the complete novel version. We don't see some of those guys until like 20, 25 minutes later. Or 20 minutes later.
Soda Pop might have gotten the most shit cut from.
I agree.
Definitely.
Because like they're supposed to be, correct me if I'm wrong, Soda Pop and like Pony Boy are supposed to be like the tightest of tight, and they're like bestest friend brothers in the world, and they would do anything for each other. You do not get a sense of any of that in the original movie.
You don't.
And even in the extended one, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. They love. There's that weird cuddle scene in the bed where you're like, oh, okay.
It is kind of a weird thing because you're like, oh, I was never, not even at like, I never had to share a bed with my brothers.
It was a different time.
Look, we had bunk beds, all right? It was the 90s in my day. We had bunk beds.
That's how you knew you came from royalty.
Yeah.
From money.
Yeah, you're with the bunk beds, not just one bed.
Where the bottom bed was more of a queen.
Yeah,
and
it was
the top
like
was a twin.
That was like a full size. Top was a twin.
Oh, yeah.
I never got the top bunk.
Definitely not.
I got dibs on top.
Until I did one time, and my mom had removed the gate.
Oh,
and I definitely rolled off and hit my head on.
Oh God!
Yeah,
this explains a lot, man.
It does.
Yeah, it does. Wow, great to meet you again.
Huh? What are we doing here?
So
Swayze?
No, I do. I think it's absolutely crazy. I'm so glad I ended up finding the complete novel version because I had such a hard time enjoying this movie up until that point, until I finally found it. And you get so much context in the complete novel version. And that's why I read that one review, is because skip the complete novel version. It's like, no, don't. I don't think you should at all. I think that's one you should watch.
I think that's most people's consensus, unless they don't like it, obviously, But like talking about cutting it to 91 minutes from 2 hours and 13 is like, it should be illegal for companies
studios
to do this.
To do that.
I mean, I know they're paying for the movie, but it's like, you hired me to do this story right. And so you're just going to cut it and take it away from me and make it completely not make sense whatsoever. That's, I don't know. They're not banking on the names in this movie. They haven't really done anything yet.
No,
That's a good
we
point.
look back on it and be like, wow, that's a can't miss, but not at this point.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'll tell you,
it's not a. It is a full stacked cast. As long as you're looking at it from now.
Yeah.
I try to cut down our 2-hour podcast episodes to 90 minutes every week,
Yeah.
and I can't do it. It's impossible. I don't know how you would do it to a movie.
You don't
Well,
get
you
the
need to
full
start
context.
releasing the complete novel versions of our episodes.
I know you don't want
Those
that.
are released on vinyl.
You probably don't. Those are released on vinyl,
We only get those.
and you have to flip to the B side. The introduction of, and I guess I don't know how you guys want to approach that. Then, like as far as it goes, do you?
I think you talking about the difference of the two.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
we
like,
talk
what
about
do
it
you
as we
feel?
go.
Okay, that's
but
fine.
there is one thing that is in both. It's the intro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This Sean, when it does the scroll and it scrolls the whole name and then it puts the names on the side and then it moves it to the middle, like this should be abolished. This is
This
the
should be
worst.
yeah.
This is the worst intro we've done on this show.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
This is like another example of just because you can doesn't mean you should. Like when it moves for me, when it's like, hey, it's over here. Now watch to the middle, and now we'll scroll.
Maybe
it's
the
like,
studio
this
was
is
like,
so
well,
bad.
we didn't want to cut
Look,
the
Mike, it was
story.
a different time. Okay.
We didn't want to cut the story from you, Francis. We just wanted to cut the fucking 2-hour-long intro you had. Good God.
Basically,
You gotta imagine like having a conversation with them and just being like, "Hey, Francis, Francis Ford Coppola is a full name famous.
Yes.
Okay, that's what we like to call. That's what we like to call it. Like you don't.
You're AJ Benz.
you have
You're
to
Mike Schulte.
You have to have like the full name, otherwise it just really seems.
Frank stopped by. Frank.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna go I'm gonna go catch a late lunch with Robin. What's that? Who's that? Robin Williams? Nope. You can't just say Robin.
Yeah.
You need to say Robin Williams because that's how this works. You need to. That's what you need to do in these moments. And the moment you take that away and you just say Francis, I don't like that at all.
We had to be told by Bert to stop calling him Bert Kreischer every
Yeah,
time.
I know.
That's very true.
Oh, dude, that's really funny, Bert Kreischer. Oh man.
What do you think of the Stevie Wonder song?
Well, I'll tell you what. I just don't really like the music in general in this movie.
I think it's an original song. I don't think it won any awards or anything, but I don't like it at all. It's
because it's paired with this intro.
yeah. I don't know. I like the vibe because this movie's 80. When did this come out? 80.
80s.
It came out in '83. It was set in '65.
Right. So I think like I can definitely tell like watching this movie throughout, obviously, that Francis Ford Coppola is trying to make it look like a movie from like even like the late 50s to the early 60s.
Yeah.
And I think that it's like that aesthetic he's trying to go for, even with the performances, even. And I don't know if it works so much for me.
I think you're right, man. But Sean, you only saw the long version
This
in this
time
rewatch.
around, yeah.
The one thing that they did get right, in my opinion, with the new longer version was that they did change a lot of the music.
Yes.
They added more actual music, where the original has this fucking terrible like score to it. I was out immediately from just this background score that they had going on in the original one. It just all felt like poor choices. This whole thing just feels like, God, you guys just missed it. You know, like somebody was just making the wrong decisions at the wrong time. Like you said with Frank, he was just Franny. He was just like he was making this decision to make it feel that, oh well, it needs to even their performances need to feel. It was like, no,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
the way, like with Dirty Dancing, like, you know, that was an '80s movie set in the '60s or the '50s.
Yeah.
But it was out clearly the '80s.
Yeah.
Like, and we were okay with it.
Well,
you know?
even like the touch of like the book Gone with the Wind, which, you know, Ponyboy's trying to fucking finish throughout the movie. Like some shots are like directly taken from the movie Gone with the Wind. It looks like,
Oh,
like there's some like
really?
rear projection sunset kind of stuff, and I like that. I like that he went for it, but you know, I don't know if I like it or not. I really don't know yet.
I'm going to make some defining statements from my perspective of this movie from here on out. So that way, because I'm going to have to define this, otherwise I'm going to bounce around a lot, and I've got to like kind of just lay the base down here. Number one, I'm going to be talking more about the complete novel version.
Yeah, same.
So that's what I'm
fine.
gonna do, guys, because otherwise I feel like I'm gonna be dogging on the movie, and I don't want to do that.
My notes for the summary scenes are the complete novel.
Okay, great,
Yes.
perfect. And so, so that's number one. I'm gonna be talking to that degree. Otherwise, I'm gonna be dogging on the movie, which I don't want to do because I want people to watch this movie for sure. The complete novel version. And then on top of that, the biggest changes that were happening that really threw me off when I did watch the complete novel was the big music change.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say the unpopular statement that I think it is an unpopular statement based on everything, that I actually really like the music choices that happened in the
original.
the complete novel.
Okay, yeah, so we're on the same page.
Oh,
with that.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. I really like that because they add this kind of surfer vibe.
It feels like the 60s.
That's what it's got to feel like.
It has to.
And there's a statement too that Dallas makes when they're on the way to the drive-in or whatnot. What's the movie? What's the movie, Dallas? He's like, I don't know, one of those beach movies,
Well,
whatever. They
certain
make a bunch of them and that kind of stuff. He doesn't care. It's just he knows it's a beach movie. It's going to have that music and that vibe, and that's why I kind of took away from. I'm glad they put this beach vibe music in these kind of really dark moments and scenes of this movie, aka make sure I'm in the right spot here. So in the beginning and in like some of the darker scenes that come along, it's a beach song music. You know,
You got Gloria to start it off, which
Gloria.
is in both versions.
Yes.
And you have to have that.
that is true.
Thank
And-
you for doing that.
And I actually really like it because of the way it transitions in the complete novel version. It transitions from that scene into the scene with Dallas and them at the pole and
This is
walking.
what they're listening to at the time.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's like Stand By Me when they're just like, or like 100% American Graffiti as.
Oh God, yeah, Dazed and
Yeah,
Confused.
yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
these songs are not in it, I'm out.
Exactly. I mean, that's if you're trying to tell the culture of the time, whatever like limited culture that they do get in this small town, that's what it's gonna be. You know?
Sean, I was thinking about how freaking cool this drive-in is. Like double-sided screens. And I was just thinking, like, man, you know, I bet Sean would just love to go back to this time where you can just drive in there. And then I'm also thinking, actually, this is Sean's worst nightmare. Imagine sitting in these bleachers and all this fucking bullshit is going on. You know,
My note: if I was there, I would turn around and tell them to shut the fuck up.
Fuck up. Who are you?
well, dude, and that's a point I want to make about, you know, you get a lot of the boomer generation that comes from this era.
I did a lot of it. I did. You know, I fucked off in movie theaters all the
Of
time.
course.
Yeah.
And they talk about how, oh man, times were so simpler back then. It's like, actually times were a lot more gross back then.
Yeah.
And we just, it's easy to look back in time and be like, well, we would have never, all these kids nowadays, they need adult supervision. It's like, but they were doing the same thing when they were kids, almost to a grosser extent of like lifting up skirts and the way
my
guys
God.
talked to girls back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
just, well, you're a girl, so I can have you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's just, I love to get glimpses back into it because we think nostalgically a lot about past eras and just like, man, times were more simple. It's like,
Not a phone in sight.
Not
right?
a
yeah,
phone
well,
in sight.
that gives them more time
No
to
more.
commit the
not
R
even
word.
dignity in sight either. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
you look back on it and like even Happy Days, although you have fucking Richie and Potsy and they're running around talking about, well, there's gonna be chicks there. We're gonna pick up some chicks. Even then, it still felt like a little bit nice.
Yep.
Like they're not
Yeah.
trying to like, you know, they're not lifting the skirts as you say and like not doing that shit like chugging from a flask in a car with and then you
Just
know
fighting
basically
everywhere.
attacking your girlfriend, and then since you couldn't attack her, then I'm gonna attack the greasers. Like this is fucked up.
I don't
man.
want to live in this world.
No.
I want to go to a drive-in movie theater and actually watch the film.
By the way, I'm gonna say Dallas, compared to these socias, Dallas is actually nice. At least he comes back with like an olive branch, and he's like, "Here, I got you. I did get you a soda. I did spend 10 cents, which back in 1965 is probably like $15." And there's just like, "Yeah, here's a soda that I got you."
I'm
And
sorry
then
for
she
sexually assaulting you.
I'm sorry. and that's what's so weird about this. Like,
It's so messed up.
well, the whole thing of like that Cherry. We'll get into talking about Cherry Valance. Is like she basically gets assaulted by Dallas, and then has that line like, "I hope I never see Dallas Winston again. I'll probably fall in love with him."
It didn't make any sense.
But I think that's the era of. Like, well, she's a good-looking guy. So what? How else am I going to find
he's-
a
he
partner?
claimed me. He touched me, so
He
he
touched
claimed
me. It's mine now.
Pursuing you, courting you, quote unquote, and it's the same thing. Think about that then too. I know this is diving in a little bit deep on this subject, but in the same sense, Bob was doing the same damn thing to her in the car beforehand, and she's gonna keep going back to Bob, and guess what? She's gonna fall in love with Bob because she keeps seeing him.
I'm an old winch now. I'm 16. Nobody's going to love me and want to put their seed in me. I'm 16.
I've lost my fertile glow.
Oh, we only lived to 37.
I'm about to go to 17, and I've just lost it all.
Next man that looks at me, I'm going to let him have it. I'm going to let him have me.
I just don't know what I'm going to do with these eggs.
Everyone knows
multiplying. I can't do it.
And here I go. I didn't learn how to properly wash some dishes, and nobody will want me anymore because I can't take care of a house.
I'm no good with a rag. What am I supposed to do?
And here comes the next one for me that I
Have me.
either learn to use a rag or get off the one you are on because somebody's going to want you.
I love making fun of the 60s. Because, like, seriously, it's so weird. Like, it's such a weird time and mentality. And, like, dude, Cherry Valance, Diane Lane.
Wowza.
Is she literally the most attractive woman that's ever been in film
And
in
she
this
still
movie?
hasn't aged, man. Like, it's crazy.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Holy shit.
It's her as a mom in Jack.
Yeah.
Is just royally upsetting to maybe any 30-plus-year-old man at this point in time.
That's
Looking
right.
at that
That's
film,
right.
You're just like,
First-
oh my god.
That's where I
yes.
first started having a crush on her, and then I saw her in other movies. I'm like, this movie came out in 80 what?
Three.
Yeah,
And she still
83,
looks the
yeah.
same as
She looks the
Jack.
same. Yeah, she looks the same.
And do we clearly like Diane Lane as not only just an attractive woman, but also I think she does a very good performance. She's maybe one of the better performances in this movie.
Yeah, I
of
agree.
this stacked lineup, she might be the best.
You want to talk about
My name's
Yeah.
Sherry, but they call me Cherry, probably because of my red hair. No, it's because they all think that they still get to do.
Yeah,
You know what? Never mind.
Yeah,
You know what? Never mind.
the cherry stem and the tiny.
yeah.
Oh, that's why they probably
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
No, that's why that. Yeah.
It's impressive. So the cast in this, I mean, it's obviously fucking stacked.
Tomato.
In hindsight, what do we think about the performances, especially from like the titular characters that we have?
Let's pick them as we go. Like let's so we move this story along. Let's just talk about Dallas Winston. How about right now?
Okay.
Played by Matt Dillon. I don't know. I just don't know how. I know that I hate the character. I know that Dallas is not one of my favorite characters at all. But like, I still don't know how I feel about Matt Dillon in this role.
Really?
I actually.
Is that one of those scenarios where he's just so good at being the asshole that you hate him?
Well,
It
think
could
about like there's something about Mary.
Yeah.
He plays that dick role very well, and him trying not to be an asshole. But he had the heartthrob thing going on for a long time.
Yeah.
He really was, and what was it 90210?
He was not in that.
Wasn't he in like one of those like shows? I don't know.
think so.
No, God, I thought for sure. Regardless, he kind of had this heartthrob thing going on, and then from there, this is a young role for him.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't see the complete novel version of this, you don't get to see him being kind of a big brother figure to a lot of these younger guys.
You don't get it at all.
At all. And then the first thing you see is greasers beating up like other people and being the aggressors.
Yeah.
And especially towards anyone else, and especially Socs. And so then you just think that he's automatically an aggressor, and he comes off as, and regardless of what you see from him in the beginning, what he does with Cherry is
And even
wrong,
the
regardless.
little kids, like, fucking
and the
with
little
them
kids. But you understand a little bit more because he's so jaded from doing 6 months in the joint.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing.
They just gloss over that.
I think
Yeah.
he's the epitome of what the movie is about. Him and Ponyboy are like the titular narrative for the movie, in my opinion. I think it's like he is the I think obviously this movie's about being mindful of your feelings and trying to express them in a proper way, or trying to be a good man essentially, and not be a toxic masculinity kind of man,
Right.
in that way. And I think that he's a definition of that. And I think that his arc going through the movie, you can kind of see how he can't handle a lot of this emotion, and so he brings it out in a violent way, or he brings it out in like a kind of a dickish way.
Right.
Whereas Ponyboy is all emotion and is in this world of male dominant violence kind of thing, and he is not that at all. And so I think these two together, especially, like I really do like Matt Dillon in this a lot. I really think that he should be talked about as like a really good actor on with Tom Cruise and like all these people that are in this movie. I think he should be talked about a lot more as like maybe the best actor of that group.
Okay.
Maybe not in this movie. Maybe his performance is a little lacking in this movie a little bit, but I think he's doing something that a lot of other people aren't doing in this movie, especially his character-wise anyway.
I think there's peaks and valleys to his performance in this movie, but I think that they balance each other out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are moments that I'm just like, I think he does great, and showing the emotional sides of the character. But there are some other moments that you're just like, okay, all right, take it back a notch.
And a lot of that, we'll get to it, but a lot of that could be like the direction for me too, or it's just like, it's weird to say.
Just don't know.
I'm not sure, because like it seems like Coppola is just trying to go for this like kind of more go bigger kind of thing, whereas like you should have kind of made it a little bit more subtle.
I did hear that the author was on set every day.
Yeah,
she was
which
the
is
nurse,
which is just a terrible idea that I've heard. Like if you're writing a book is so much different than taking a book and making it into a movie. The reason that books are good is not the same as why the movie would be good.
I agree.
So you should never let that person it'd be like being in a band and choosing to cover a song and letting the original artist come in while you arrange it. You can't. You just got to go on your own and do. So I have a feeling maybe there was some tension there.
Maybe.
Well, I heard that it was, for the most part, it was actually a pretty positive experience
sure it was.
of her being on set. But I think you're right. In the end, it doesn't lend to the creative flow and process of it all. There might be an instance of trying to either impress her or to have her appreciation or something like that of a creative choice. It could totally derail maybe a director. But overall, it sounds like S.E. Hinton was like actually very much a maternal figure on set.
Yeah,
and that was very fun. And also direction wise, Francis Ford Coppola did not want to. He wanted to stop filming as little as possible.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of parts coming up that there's moments left in the movie that follow that very hard. So that happen. There's little moments that happen, and you're like, oh yeah, they just left that in.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to scene 2. So Johnny's parents are having a fight, so he decides he's going to sleep out in a vacant lot. After Ponyboy is harshly reprimanded by Derry for staying out so late, Pony runs out and gets Johnny to walk the local park with him. The socialists find Ponyboy and Johnny in the park, attack them. Johnny kills Bob, who's trying to drown Pony. The other socialists run away. They go find Dallas, who gives them money and tells them to board a freight train and head out of town. And this is where the problem, you run into the problems of not watching the full cut.
Yeah.
Because you get this moment where Derry, Patrick Swayze is like trying to do the right. He didn't really do anything wrong here. He's basically the dad.
Yeah.
And we don't really understand that. And we had a whole interaction with them before. We had this whole interaction of learning more about their relationship and how he's trying to take care of him. He's in a tough position, but in the original movie, you meet him now for the first time.
Yeah.
And then he's like, hey, where you been? and Ponyboy runs away, and you're like,
Yeah.
Who the fuck was that?
what? Yeah, you're like, I don't even know who these people are.
And it's a very similar thing with Soda Pop with Rob Lowe.
Yeah.
I think you got a little bit of Rob Lowe.
You would have had
I think
the cuddle nighhtime scene, I think, already. Like,
was that in
I think it was in the intro still.
Was that in the original one?
No, not in the original.
Okay.
Well, you gotta have that scene.
Well, you gotta have
They
them.
took that
Come
out.
on.
Brothers gotta cuddle.
Brothers got to cuddle.
Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers gotta cuddle. Guys.
Rob Lowe.
Call back. Let's do it, baby. So
It's pretty good, dude.
This movie was missing fucking
Chris Farley. It would have been amazing.
that's the reference we didn't know we had.
Nope.
Okay.
We make it there somehow.
We got it, guys. But like you didn't even get a lot of him, and you find this. There is that moment near the end that again it was cut, so I'll mention it now. That I will just say that there's a big moment between the Curtis brothers.
Yeah.
You know that is cut from the movie.
It's like the end of the movie. It's like the important end of the movie to show what happened.
Talking about how
They just take it out.
Ponyboy feels things different, and I'm always caught in the middle of you two, like
We need to stick together.
middle of a tug rope, you know, like
Nope. Take it out.
man. So and they took that out. This is the moment where you're just like, wow, we see Patrick Swayze. We're like 22 minutes into this movie, and now we're just meeting Patrick Swayze as this father figure. And it feels so disjunct from especially what happens later. He seems like a dad figure, and then later on he's in the Rumble and stuff like that. Like he's a part of this greaser world. But
there's
it doesn't even feel like that.
Isn't there this backstory? Because I've never read the book either. That Derry was like a Soch.
Yeah. They kind of mention it a little bit.
Sort of, right?
Because him and the other guy who is
They
a
used to
social-
play football
they play
together.
football
They used to be
together.
friends or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, like, I sure would love to know more about that.
Yeah.
See?
That sounds like a really great plot twist that, like, oh, Derry used to be one of them.
Yep.
I think even when I first saw this movie, I thought that Patrick Swayze was their dad.
Of course.
I did.
Why would you not think that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess single dad. Well, good for him.
Oh, man. Good looking guy for 30-something
Yeah,
years
he's
old.
not age at all.
You're
Jeez.
not led to believe anything different until a soft conversation between, Ponyboy and like either Johnny or like Cherry.
Yeah, I think it's Johnny because then this is the moment that causes them to change their lives forever. And that's kind of the sad part about some of these movies is that if Johnny and Ponyboy's home life are even remotely normal,
Yeah.
like even below average, then nothing happens here. Johnny goes home to his parents. Maybe they're sleeping already. They're not fighting each other. Johnny goes home. Ponyboy comes home, and he doesn't stay out late at that point. And Derry's like, "Hey man, come on, like, come inside." And then
You're stuck on this alternate reality kind of stuff.
I'm so stuck. I'm stuck on these moments that like
No, I see it. I know. what you're
because
saying.
if they both don't run away here, then they're not out late
Yeah.
for the drunk socials to start this
Yeah.
problem that changes this movie.
Well, can we talk about C. Thomas Howell and Ralph Macchio at
yeah.
this point? I think Ralph Macchio is trying really hard.
Do you think he's
Trying real hard.
he's trying so hard in this role?
I think that there's so many good points in his performance, but then there's also kind of like,
He spends the
points.
first 10 minutes walking around with his hands in his
Yeah.
pocket.
and
he's-
again, I don't know if it's the direction or not because Ralph Macchio's great, but I think it could be just maybe a combination of like the performance and Francis Ford Coppola just being like, no, play it up big, like be a whiny bitch, basically. I don't know. Do you feel
I
that?
don't think you want that. Like that doesn't feel like
That's
something
what I'm
I
saying.
want.
That's what I'm saying. Is like it kind of.
We want him to be cool.
It's
Like,
very.
I love Johnny.
It's
He's so
very
cool.
melodramatic, like a late 50s, early 60s
Yeah.
movies would be.
See, and I think that this is the point of like with Johnny and Ponyboy. These are younger guys because they say it later on 14 and I think 15. 14 because
See, Thomas
Ponyboy
just turned 14 and Johnny's 16.
16. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. And so this whole thing of they're like the younger guys of this greaser group, Derry's greaser group. I got to remember that because there's kind of like leaders. There's a hierarchy
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And so but they're like the younger, and they're also they're like the sweeter guys of this group. They're not hardened like Derry is or Dallas is. And they haven't been through it, right? And another thing that is also left out, the cut that happens on Ponyboy's neck.
Yeah.
There's then the mention of those the same guys that cut you, Johnny, because he has a cut on his face. They're getting put through this right now. Yep. This is their coming of age story. That's the hard thing to remember. So I don't know. I just always feel like we're just supposed to believe, or we're just kind of led to believe like all these greasers are just tough guys and stuff, and it's hard to remember that this is kind of their coming of age story.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, and that's the split, right? Is that Johnny ends up killing Bob, and while Pony Boy is basically being drowned, and like those are that's like the hard split, and that's always the. And then, like you said, Mike, it's like that's the life-changing thing that we just get to see. And you're like, I guess we're just in it now.
Here we go.
We're in the thick of it now.
Just like them.
I've seen and heard of like parties or like confrontations like this almost come to this point. Like, have you guys
like a knife pulled,
like been rumbles in like your school, like especially in high school? I remember a couple times where people like got beat pretty bad, and like cops were involved, and hospital had to be involved and everything. And so this was real to me. I mean, what would you do? Like if your friend was seemingly being drowned, what the fuck would you do?
You have to. It's the epitome of some sort of self-defense, but at the same time, that's when this story kicks in of the like, well, if they do go to the cops to explain their story, who are they going to believe? The rich socialist kids or the greaseballs?
No one believes him at home anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's going to defend Johnny.
See, I think that's the really scary thing is that even though it's a self-defense situation, they've never been led to believe that anybody's going to care about their opinion.
And they realize this. They realize, we talk about all the time with movies kind of like this of like parents failing you, and you got to kind of take it upon yourself when you really shouldn't at this point in your life. You should have some help.
Yeah, that shot. There's a couple cool moments though in this movie of shots, and like the one with Machio's in the foreground and the dead Bob's laying in the back of the.
There's a lot of oh my God, split diopter.
Okay,
The foreground is in focus as well, and it's just like literally a split in the lens. They can have separate focuses.
Cool.
I do appreciate a lot of the shots and the artistic value of some of the scenes.
Definitely
in this. But it's just again like it's like we're in it now. Here we go. Like now he's killed Bob. They got to run away. I do love the fact that they go see Dallas and Who knows what this place is?
Tom Waits opens the door.
Tom Waits
God
opens the
knows
door.
what place
What
this
a
is.
cool party.
Tom Waits opened the door to God knows what. And all I know,
You guys in the corner puking
his guts out. Oh my God. And
Which Pony Boy did.
yeah,
Yes, he did.
pretty much true. Yeah, he knew guy was in the corner puking his guts out. Dallas opens the door and says, "Oh my God." This is all I know, guys, is this is a bar that we all want to go hang out at.
100%.
Especially if you can live above it.
So
Red lights.
Yeah.
Middle of nowhere, too.
I feel drunk even if this room was full of just red light, I'd feel hammered right now.
If I walked into that place and I couldn't get a stubby bottle like Coors Banquet, I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
Even if I just killed a guy. I'm leaving.
We should hang out here.
Yeah. It's like, you know what? I think this
Wait for the whole thing to blow over.
Let's go. I waited it all to blow over.
Let's go to Tom Waits' house.
In
Wait for
fact,
all this to blow over.
I just like to think that's Tom
Waits'
Waits' house. I think it is.
It might be.
I'm pretty sure this is just where they go to like celebrate first kills. You know,
You made
know
it.
what I mean? It's like, come on in, guys.
I can smell you.
I know what's going on.
Go to Tom Waits' house, wait for all this to blow over, and by blow, I mean, let's do some fucking blow, because I'm Tom Waits.
Because Tom Waits.
But Dallas doesn't seem very concerned with this. Like, I mean,
Well, I do like how
That's what I mean. It's just like, oh, yeah. All right, well, It's bound to happen soon. Come on in. Let's get you cleaned up.
You got one finally,
It's like a toddler that just like shit his diaper or something. It's
Yep.
like, oh guys, well
It's
you
okay,
did.
it's okay.
Well, let's go get you cleaned up for this now. Come on in. Yeah.
I like his performance at this point, Matt Dillon. a
Yeah,
lot.
this is one of his better parts.
He's like lights up a cigarette and the camera's kind of zooming in on him a little bit, and he's like, okay, you're gonna want to go to this place. You're gonna want this abandoned church outside of this
done it
town.
before.
Yeah, he's been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's had to lay low there sometimes.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Buck has done this for him.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like that's what I feel like. It's Buck's place. It's Buck's car that he's driving later. You know, that's Tom Waits.
Yep.
And like that's the thing is like this is where he's able to stay or crash for whatever. So whatever the relationship that he has with Buck to be able to, you know, sleep above his place,
Yeah.
his bar. It's like Buck has done this for him, and now it's like this again. It's just passing the torch.
Totally.
And unfortunately, like you think about that, you know, I don't know anything about it, so I'm not gonna like pretend I do. But what they always portray as like a gang life, it's kind of an initiation. Whatever it ends up being, whether it's the outsiders, boys in the hood, whatever. There's always something that's that initiation, and now it just seems like this is a passing of the torch. And the fact that they gloss over this so easily, well, here's $50, jump onto this train, and there's a place that you need to go and
Lay
just
low for
lay
a couple
low.
days.
And just go lay low. And it does seem a little bit washed over. I don't know. Whether I like that or not, I can't decide.
Also, $50 seems like a lot in 1965.
Yeah, it sure
Seems
does.
like a lot.
It seems like a lot of money. If they're buying 10-cent like Cokes at
Like
a
thinking
drive-in.
of like Stand By Me is like, oh, I have my pennies. What pennies were worth something?
Well, yeah,
7
pennies.
cents, Vern.
Well, it's still 7 cents. Like
Yeah.
it might buy us a loaf of bread.
Yeah,
Well,
who knows?
and he's saying, get yourself a week's worth of food. I was like, I guess depending on the grocery store you're talking about today, that's like $180. Like
What? No, it should be more than that.
I'm pretty sure it's like
1965.
1965. I'm pretty sure $50. Let me see.
You do it.
Let me see if I can call this.
I'm gonna read scene 3, and you tell me what it is.
All right, I'm gonna see if I can call this at $187.
I'm gonna say 188.
I'm gonna say like $370.
Damn it, Mike's probably right.
And we'll be right back after these messages. So scene 3, they settle into an abandoned church to hide out for a few days. They do what they can to pass the time, including cutting and dyeing their hair, smoking, reading books, and watching the sunset and rise. A few days later, Dallas arrives and takes them out to eat. On returning to the church, they find it burning and a group of young kids trapped inside. They rescue the kids, but Johnny's burnt and paralyzed. EMS finally arrives, takes them back to their hometown in the hospital. The boys are all hailed as heroes, and Ponyboy's tearfully reunited with Daryl and Soda Pop.
So I got my decimal point wrong.
Yeah, right?
I got my multiplications mixed up. That's a little bit closer to $500.
That's what I'm saying.
$495. This is saying $50 in 1965 is worth $495 and change.
Dallas gives him $495.
Yeah.
Where did
says-
he get that?
And he
I'm
says
saying.
get a week's worth of food. It's like, where the fuck are you going? Costco?
We could pay rent for 9 years with this.
I bought a house for $490,000 in 1965.
like Dallas is doing okay apparently, but you know what? He's probably playing it smart, doing the minimalist lifestyle. He's renting, not
Wearing the
owning.
same shirt every day.
You know, he's got
He's
his own
leasing a Toyota.
But also, what a great guy. He
got
just
great
gave him
resale value.
$500.
It's actually very, and he doesn't think twice about anything.
No, he just gives him it.
He does, and that's why I say like that. It sucks that it takes this long if you're watching the normal cut of the version to kind of see that Dallas isn't a shitty person to these
Right.
guys. He is very much a big brother, you know, almost paternal figure to some
especially
of these guys.
to Johnny.
I think
Yeah,
that's
very much Johnny.
I think that's mostly his character. I think whatever he puts on, like with Diane Lane or Cherry, like I think that's a persona.
Oh,
that
yeah,
he
yeah.
tries to keep
Tough
up.
guy.
He's not really, like that's my thing with like him and Ponyboy being kind of like this similar thing. I think Dallas is like Ponyboy. He just fucked up a lot, and so
Yeah.
he's got to be this way. Obviously,
and he doesn't have the ability to look at a sunset
Yeah.
and feel different. And I
See?
love
Yeah.
this idea of, you know, because we've all been there before where you're young and you like see something beautiful and you think you're special because you see it. Like, well, I noticed this, and most people probably don't notice the beauty of that. And I like that play on C. Thomas Howell's Ponyboy character here. Like, I do feel this is where he maybe shines the most in when we're getting these scenes of them just passing the time here. The shot of the movie for me is the reflection of them on the lake, the water with the church, and everything's upside down, and they're looking at themselves with their new haircut. Those are those moments I was talking to you about just the shots and the artistic nature of it. But if you watch the original cut of this, like, you don't get much between these two while they're hanging out here in the church.
I remember it feeling longer this time. That's for sure. But I wasn't mad about it.
No, because this is great. It really shows their friendship. I think it shows how good of an actor both these guys are in these moments. I really I believe that they're friends and their camaraderie in these moments.
I like that I like the fact that they're like kind of on their own now, and like they kind of have their own place. And like, we got to pass the time somehow. So read me Gone with the Wind, you know.
Yeah.
We got to change our hair and savagely cut our hair with a fucking pocket knife.
Ugh.
I'll tell you what, though, this is why, guys, classic reasoning, and certainly coming of age. This is why you make a list when you go to the grocery store. It's fucking ridiculous. Oh, I got a loaf of bread. I got
one loaf.
A week's worth of bologna. That's like, come on.
That's like $1.
How many slices are you using in a sandwich? That's
breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay?
That's right.
I like all three of my meals.
Oh, hey, I got some peanut butter. Well, did you get a utensil to scoop it out? No, you didn't. And then a book with Gone with the Wind. This is Dumb and Dumber. Well, hey, just get the essentials, okay? It's the last of our dough. And that's what's
giant cowboy hat.
And it's just
a yo-yo with the paddle ball.
You're saying that Gone with the Wind is the equivalent of a giant cowboy hat.
A giant cowboy hat and a ping pong a paddle ball thing.
That's exactly what he said.
And a case of beer. That's exactly what this is to 14-year-old and 16-year-old. They weren't smart. If they were smart, they'd find somebody to get them some beer, but they didn't. Anyways,
deck of cards. I'm sure they got some jacks.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. Let's gamble together against our own money. You fucking idiot.
Our own cigarettes.
Anyway.
We're both gonna smoke them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you for one if I run out.
I don't know. This is that kind of. This is where I think it kind of becomes a little bit of that road movie, a little bit of that Stand By Me, a little bit of that we're on our own. There is nobody to answer to, but there's no one to tell you what to do, for better or for worse, for both of those reasons. Yeah. There's no one to answer to. But there's no one to answer. There's no one to tell you what to do. There's no one to tell us what to do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the feeling I get with this, There's a monster outside the window. It's a raccoon. You know what I mean? It's like things are scarier than they are, or worse than they are, or better than they are. There's no perspective.
Ponyboy looks like Danny Elfman with bleached hair.
I could dig that.
He looks like Charlie from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I really don't like it. I don't like him with bleached hair. It scares me.
It's not great.
Why
didn't Johnny have to dye his hair too? I don't understand.
Because he looked at him and was like, I ain't fucking doing that. That was it.
Hey, I'm the one wanted for murder. We're not going to disguise me anymore. We're going to disguise you.
You were the accomplice, okay?
Yeah, it's way more important that we disguise you, bro.
All right, you can cut my hair now. It's like, you cut like 2 pieces of hair off of him. It's like, I guess that'll hide me.
That's Ralph being like, dude, I'm about ready to star in a karate movie here. Like, you got to chill the fuck out, okay? I got to look good.
Look, Franny, I can't do that.
Franny, I can't do this.
There's no way. I booked this karate movie, and I just can't do that.
It's a role of a lifetime, Ralph.
Yeah.
You're going to throw it all away?
Yeah.
I need you to dye your hair.
Well, I've got another role of a lifetime coming up, so I need to prepare for that one.
A karate kid? You're going to play a karate kid.
Yeah. Correct.
After this.
Correct, yes.
When you put it that way.
I don't know, man. I've gone to the future, and there sure isn't a Netflix Outsiders spinoff. fucking Franny.
What about the Broadway show?
Nope. Don't care about that.
Man, no.
Turns out nobody goes to Broadway anymore. So.
Yeah, they tried with a TV series, but that's just going downhill. So, in 1990.
So you get Dallas showing up. Obviously, no big deal. I told him you were going to Texas, so now we can just go out to eat at Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
It's totally fine.
Yeah.
The whole you guys hiding out doesn't matter anymore. Let's go to Dairy Queen.
He's like, oh man, you guys are still up here. I forgot. Actually, it's just,
I didn't think you guys would be here.
I'll be honest with you. I told you to hide out for a couple of days, and there you are.
Yeah.
It's October.
Oh,
It's been months.
But
what day is it? October?
But you know, they go and have this moment where they talk a lot more at the Dairy Queen, and you know, you get to realize that Johnny's just like, dude, I'll just turn myself in.
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay, fine. And it's so quickly turned around to like now they're back at the church, and this fire happened. Like, I have so many questions about this. Why was there a school bus of kids at an abandoned church that they were living
I
at?
thought it was something different.
No.
Different
This is the church they were staying in.
Because I thought
Are
that
you
I'm like,
sure?
it can't
Yes.
be.
This is 100% the church that they were staying in. Abandoned church in the middle of nowhere that no one had been around for a couple of days, that now that they decide to leave, a school bus shows up and they just let kids run around and go in the house in this abandoned fucking church. No, this is 100% the exact place.
I mean,
because
it looked like it for sure. I was just like, it can't be.
But then that's the other problem I have. Not only did this happen, then they imply with that stupid shot of them falling asleep with cigarettes. Like, remember, like an ash kind of falls out and they're like, be careful. They go, be careful with those cigarettes. And it shows like a spider web. And then they're implying that their fucking cigarettes started this fire. But hours and hours and hours later, after they had already left and a school bus of children showed up. Like, unless I am completely wrong.
Okay, I found something.
Okay.
Do you want this?
Yeah,
or
please.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
This says that Ponyboy and Johnny originally had been hiding out in the church to escape trouble. But right before they leave, the church catches fire with the ash, right?
Okay.
They decide to run into the church when they realize a few of the school children playing nearby have become trapped and need to be rescued. So they were playing nearby from a school or something.
Nope. I hate this because
Okay, well then fuck
why
me.
are they going to go to an abandoned church?
Well, I think he's saying like they were playing nearby and a couple kids went to the church to fuck around.
There's a school bus there, and teachers going, I don't know.
Well, maybe they hijacked the school bus. The
No.
Children did.
No, literally, they're posing it like a field trip. This bus pulled up to be like, wow.
Well, it's
You're
obviously
100% right.
Obviously a Catholic school, and it was some sort of church that they didn't knock down yet because it had some sentimental value.
This
to
is where-
Saint bitch or something.
This is where they take the naughty kids to go pray away the scary, and that's what they do. And here they are, and then it was already on fire because of the cigarette, those devil sticks, those devil cancer sticks.
Don't you smoke when you're 14?
That's right, and that's what happened.
If we were on a train to go punch a face, I'm on board.
That's what I'm talking about.
So it's obvious for me. Our buddy Jerry here, he's the teacher. He's the teacher that's with these kids. It's Gaylord Sartain. Is his actual name.
Yeah.
Did you recognize him at all?
Gaylord?
Gaylord Sartain is the teacher. His name's Jerry. He's the one that literally is like, I don't know the kids. There's so many kids. There's chaos. I don't know if there's kids in there or not. He needs to be punched in the face. But I love him as an actor, though. He was in all the Ernest movies. He wasn't in Scared Stupid, but he was in the rest of the Ernest movies. He was also in The Replacements. He was one of the coaches in The Replacements.
Okay.
He's such a great actor, but my God, like, that guy sucked.
He's like, some of the children are still missing. He's like, no, they're not.
That's what he said.
Yeah, they are. I said there's kids in there, and you believe me even if you don't think so or not.
And he says, no, don't worry, I've got them on the body system. Yeah, that's it. I just got. Oh no, they're over there. The
You
kids
mean
are
the
fine.
buddy system?
No, the body system. So as long as there's no dead bodies around, then we're fine.
Gross. He's my punchable face.
He is a punchable face because he's.
Then later he's smoking cigarettes outside with Ponyboy. He's like, you shouldn't smoke. He's like, you are.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm older than you.
Yeah. For me, it is Johnny's mom. So, Happy Mother's Day.
Which, by the way, you do not meet in the original version. That scene does not happen.
Exactly. Exactly.
when she comes to the hospital to visit him, and they're like, "Get away from here!" That doesn't happen in the original.
See? It could be 2-bit for me. I'm just gonna say Emilio Estevez is a little bit over the top. Okay,
Well, we'll get
I'm
to
just
him.
saying.
We'll get to him. He'll have his moment. He'll have his moment.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that teacher,
All right.
principal, whatever the fuck, bus driver.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So obviously they're rescued, but Johnny gets hurt. John and Ponyboy was the first one in, or Johnny was the first one in?
I think Johnny.
Was Johnny the first one
I
in?
think Johnny went, and then Ponyboy had to go after.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a rough way to go there, Johnny boy.
Yeah. I mean, I remember watching this movie for the first time, and like when my mom showed me it, and like this was like scary to me, like, especially
terrifying.
seeing like burnt Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, his burnt flesh.
Yeah.
I mean, like 3rd-degree hardcore burns. Like that was pretty rough. Especially, you know, this might come back to your what you were saying earlier about some of his performance when he is kind of when he's face down on that in the hospital, and then he does the pass out thing. I'm like, okay. No, I don't want to see my mom.
He might as well have X's over his eyes.
It's just X's over his eyes with the tongue.
Like in A Christmas Story.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Black Bart.
Got him again.
No, it definitely felt a little bit like that. And then when they're just sitting there like, well, what's wrong with him? You can't be here anymore. Well, I think he just died, because that's all I'm going to think as a kid.
Yeah, he's going to start smelling. You can't be here anymore.
Yeah.
He already does that burnt flesh.
That burnt, yeah. Ooh.
Let's get on to scene 4, because that's kind of where we are. The Socias and the Greasers plan a big rumble to settle things after the death of Bob, and Cherry acts as the go-between. 2-Bit and Pony go to the hospital to visit Dallas and Johnny. Johnny's suffering from horrible burns and his traction laying on his chest, seemingly paralyzed. Dallas is desperate to get out of the house to join the big rumble. The night of the fight arrives, and the Greasers defeat the Socias. When they head to the hospital to see Johnny, he dies.
So they kind of all gather in, I think, Patrick Swayze's house, or like their house, and this is where you get like most Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Is he eating just globs of grease?
I think so.
I don't think he ever stops eating brownies or chocolate cake in this movie.
It didn't look like he's constantly covered in, I guess, chocolate. It just looked like it looked like he works on cars in the movie.
Yes.
And I'm just like, he just brought grease from work and was like, oh, this is good shit.
You forget the 60s were a simpler time where you were like known for your quirks. So you're like, well, I'm just the guy that eats chocolate cake
With weird teeth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I got going for me. So I'm just going to do that.
That's the guy who works at the gas station but eats a lot of chocolate cake.
Oh, I know him.
Much too good for children.
The times were simpler back then. But you're talking about 2-Bit. Like
Yeah.
you're not liking 2-Bit.
Well, here's the thing. Like young Emilio Estevez, there's an overdoing it quality to his performance here. And again, whether or not it serves the era, the 60s era, or if it just feels like, oh God, like, but then there's these great subtle moments when he literally sits down with a chocolate cake and a beer, and I'm just like,
my
oh
favorite.
yeah, you're just everyone's spirit animal in 2020. Gotcha.
He gently
Watching
brings the
Mickey
tray
Mouse.
over.
Yeah, watching Mickey Mouse. Like I say, that's just 2020 in a nutshell for everyone. Well, I think most people, not me,
No,
though.
definitely everyone.
But no, like again, there are so many moments to this that you just like say. Finally getting to see like Tom Cruise. He works at the DX gas station with Soda Pop, and getting to see more of 2-Bit. You know, those are the things that I wanted. You do want more of, and you want more of the context. It just makes me think about like all the stuff that's going on. Like, I wish they would have been cutting back a little bit more to what's happening in town.
Yeah.
While everything's happening in the church for Johnny and
Yeah.
Ponyboy.
That would have been a good call.
That's what I really wanted, I think. To
Yeah,
give
'cause
us
we had-
more of those great characters.
Yeah, because we have these characters who could have been our like Sherpa for those scenes,
Right.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
You know, to get to know these characters and what the town is thinking about all this. But I do like the aspect of like when Dal comes and tells them like, "Oh, you guys are heroes," or well, yeah, I mean after the fact, I guess. But Yeah, I do. That's a good point. But especially with Emilio Estevez in this, I think he's, the director of the movie we covered, the Western.
Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Thank you.
That's a great one.
Tombstone? What are you talking about?
Oh my God.
Billy the Kid.
Yeah. What's the movie?
Young Guns.
Young Guns.
Young Guns.
The director of that watched this movie and was like, "Oh yeah, he's my."
It's
he's
kind
my
of
Billy
the
Kid.
same vibe
He's like
that he
kind
gives
of like
off.
unhinged. He's like, "Woo!"
He does. It's like, hey, well, you like Mickey Mouse a lot, and it's like, but Mickey Mouse wasn't fucking Bugs Bunny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's like we want you to be cartoonish or something. I don't get it. That's where it feels. And I think the reason behind that is because we just don't get enough time with some of these characters.
No, not at all. We don't learn anything about him, but he's my favorite of the greasers.
Oh, is that right?
I think he's mine too.
I don't.
agree.
I think he's just got that wild, like he's unhinged like Dal is, but he's sensitive like Ponyboy is. Like he's sort of right in the middle of all of them. He seems very loyal, will do anything for you, but also is like, man, this chocolate cake and Mickey Mouse is pretty fun.
This is where I'm at now.
This is actually, I'm taking the day off.
Yeah.
Of being a
Because
greaser.
last night was weird.
You know what? Today feels like a good day for 2-bit. That's
It
what it's
really
gonna be.
does.
I'm gonna take a me day today.
It is 9:45. I'm gonna have chocolate cake and a beer.
And that's what I'm doing today.
Yeah, that's me. Mickey Mouse is on.
Don't call me. Don't text me.
Now,
I'm
despite
eating chocolate cake.
Yeah.
despite the fact that we love Diane Lane and think she's just gorgeous in this, the character of Cherry Valance is a bit of a tough one because basically, so Bob was her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Bob was killed. She's defending Bob, but also glad that he's dead and helping the greasers out with information about the Socs, but she is a Soc. It's one of the stranger characters that I feel has ever been written.
And it really doesn't go anywhere.
No, it doesn't.
At all. Like she doesn't show back up, I don't think.
Well,
right?
no.
Well-
So then that's the fucked up part again. You get into the complete novel version, and at the very end, she actually testifies in the trial.
Yeah.
And then she is at school and ignores Ponyboy. It's like,
She basically pulls a Claire
yes.
of what Claire would actually do from Breakfast Club.
If
In the end,
next day, on Monday, when Breakfast Club came back to school,
Right.
Claire would have ignored Bender.
Yeah, or Brian.
Or Brian, or
who-
anyone.
Yeah.
I didn't see a trial scene at all.
See,
Oh,
so I don't
okay.
even know what you watched.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm so fucking sick of this. Like, like put a goddamn movie out and fucking call it the movie, and then let's watch it.
Dude, I know.
Like,
I know.
but here's the one where we cut out half of it, but then here's the one where we put in a scene, but then we cut out another, but then we put in another scene, and then here's the one. It's like,
Do you
just
want-
put out a fucking movie?
Do you want the one that's an hour and a half? Do you want the one where we put in like 11 minutes? Or do you want us the one that we put in like 22, 23 minutes?
How long was the one? How long is the complete novel?
They literally say the complete novel is an additional 22 minutes of footage, including the more true to novel opening or introduction and
ending for the
closing
most part, yeah.
of the
And then
book.
some scenes in the middle.
And scenes through the middle. And then they also, on top of that, there's a lot of changes in the music.
yes, the
So,
music
but
mostly.
yes.
And the one of the biggest scenes where the music was changed was this big fight scene.
Was the Rumble.
Man, like, and I don't know, I just don't like the score in the original, but the original was just like, beep, 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 beep. It's like a weird score, and then the complete novel had like surf music.
It was like surf music, and it was like, I mean, classic borderline Dick Dale vibes. It's
Yeah.
just like.
See, now that
like,
kind of
it's
throws
just-
me off a little bit too, because like at this point we're supposed to feel like this fight shouldn't happen in a way, right? It
Yeah.
should be sort of dramatic.
It should feel dire.
Yes. It shouldn't feel like rock and roll.
Hey,
Like if it did, that's a totally different tone. Than
And you know what? I think and maybe this is why I'm liking the surfer music tones of like the complete novel version, is because it may feel dire to us, but to them, most of them, the majority of them,
They're having
are
a great time.
excited about this. They are so excited. They're literally trying to plan a party for afterwards.
Right,
man.
and I get that, but like our central characters are Ponyboy,
yeah.
and I mean,
Well, and if you, like we said earlier, but also Dallas though too.
sure, yeah. I mean, but like if we're going with our perspective of the storyteller, which I guess is Ponyboy,
Yeah.
then it should feel like Dyer, like you're saying.
Sure.
Should.
I like
This
that
is
it's
his
going
first
surfer
Rumble,
music.
maybe.
That's awesome because I love all these characters and I love fight scenes. That's fucking sick. But like the tone is just kind of off in that aspect for me. And even the fight scenes too. Like some of the fighting is pretty bad. And
Yeah.
like still, and I don't know if it's like the direction of he's just like, yeah, I want it to look like these kind of rough and tumble. Biker movies back in the 60s, kind of like how they fought, like
It's not
there's
dangerous.
some of the you can see someone go to kick Matt Dillon and he doesn't quite catch his leg, which he's supposed to, and so he does a kick again. Like it's obviously a bad take.
Yeah.
But they left it in. You know what I mean by that? Like he tries to kick and he's like,
shit. Okay, do it
he
again.
didn't grab his leg.
Do it again.
He kicks again, and then he goes down really awkwardly.
There's like a moment where somebody either like punches or does like a kick to Tom Cruise in some way, and like it's nowhere near his face, but he goes like that kind of thing. Just little things like that. You're right. Like when you have that much coordination, or that you're trying to coordinate on camera, like you should be able to like review that and be like, we need to hone in on this section of it, on this section of it, on this section of it. And there wasn't a lot of that done. It was just like, let's just let the boys go at it.
Well, it was cold, and then the first night it was actually raining.
Okay.
So then the second night it was not raining, so that they had to like fake rain
No.
on them.
And you can tell the difference,
you can
I
tell the
think.
difference of scenes.
Yeah.
And this is supposedly where Flea and Cam Neely show up. And I looked so hard. I wanted it so hard. I couldn't find any photos online of them actually being in this movie. They're uncredited. Supposedly they were in this, but I couldn't find them.
Hey,
I wanted it so bad.
I like that they're there.
Seabass showed
spirit.
up. Fuck, that's so awesome. Well, and then before we go to the final season here, this is actually where Johnny does die. And
Yeah.
again, we kind of talked about that. It's sort of a weird. How does that happen? Like it always happens in movies, and I hate it. They get their chance to say their last line, and then that's when they die in the thing. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I like his
I didn't feel
sentiment.
anything for Johnny.
I feel a little bad for him. Like I like his kind of like unknown soldier kind of story that he has. Like no one's gonna really know except Ponyboy. Like what kind of a person he really was. Not even his parents are really even gonna know. Not even Dallas is really even gonna really know as much as Ponyboy did. And I guess he will be known as sort of a hero, but.
Yeah,
But not really.
It wasn't
he still
really-
killed a guy.
I mean, yeah, it's still like
Brick killed a guy.
what was it worth with Trident?
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, he got killed from an unknown disease. Like I don't know. Was he in danger of dying? Like he died from a broken heart.
He died of dysentery. No, like I honestly, if as far as the Johnny portion of this storyline goes, I think that it could have. I think it would have been a lot more impactful. Personally, I guess I don't know. Like, I'm talking about a Francis Ford Coppola movie. That if he would have passed, or maybe like if they wouldn't have had that chance, if they would have been able to run in and like realize that he's not there, and like
The bed's empty
he
when they ran
passed,
in.
like or it's somebody different or something like
would've
that.
liked that.
It would have somebody passed, and like the last things that they really did get to say, and he would have gotten to say his "Stay Gold Pony Boy," line earlier in the movie, right before the big rumble, and then they come back, and then of course, then you end up seeing that, and this is the other thing that tears me up if later on is like, well, did he know the letter was in that book, or did he not know the letter was in that book? And he is just finding it now. We don't know, and they wouldn't have had the chance of a last goodbye, quote unquote. But what he would have had is finding that letter, and that would have, been
could
the
have been the
semblance
story,
he
yeah.
needed. That would have been the thing he needed. Yeah. So that's my thing.
Well, final scene. So Dallas holds up a convenience store, is shot and wounded. Cops chase him and shoot him and kill him in front of his friends. At the trial, Cherry gives her testimony, and Ponyboy is declared not guilty. The three brothers seem to have a moment that fixes their troubles and helps them get along. Ponyboy finds a note that Johnny left him while he starts to write his school assignment. So, Sean, here we're going to find out once and for all if you did see this. Did you see the moment where Soda Pop like gets mad around the dinner table and runs out the door, and Dally and Ponyboy chase him down, and they like hug in a park and cry, and like does that ring a bell at all?
No,
Like
I
a
remember
strange-
them in the hospital being reunited.
So you didn't see the complete novel.
what the
version.
fuck?
Yeah, so you saw the semi-incomplete novel. You got more. Sounds like you got more in the beginning.
I
don't
read
know.
there's 2 cuts, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I watched the older one when I was in school, you know. And then I'm like, oh, well, this one must be the definitive version, like that I read about. And then I'm like, now you guys are telling me this. I'm like, is there 20 more minutes of the 2 hour and 13?
I don't know. I don't even care, and that's where I just don't care, because it's like you just should fucking put out a movie and call it good. You get one chance, just put it out.
yeah.
That makes me sad when you say, "Well, I don't care." I'm like, well, I do care.
But I do care.
Like
Ulysses.
Ulysses
I know.
cut,
So,
baby.
I'm sorry you do, but
You know
just
I'm a
make that
Ulysses
the
cut
fucking
boy.
movie then.
I know. No, you're right.
If it's important, leave it in. If it's not, take it out and call it good.
Yeah.
I don't know, but we do go in to consult the Jarrett Layoff Confused Breakfast Actor Database.
God.
This is an important one, boys. Tom Cruise moves up to this is his 6th film that he's done with us. And then Swayze, Lowe, and Emilio are up to 5. Wow. So they are crawling up there. In fact, we have, if we want to revisit our top numbers right now, Candy Buscemi at 8. Then you got Ducommun and Reeves and Cage at 7. Cage is about to step up.
Hell yeah. Dog.
And then you got a bunch at 6 now. Sven Ole Thorson, Mary Ellen Trainor, Dan Aykroyd, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Tom Cruise as well. So
Oh my God, we didn't even marry. Oh man, Mary Ellen Trainor.
I know.
Okay, never mind. I
She'll
won't
get
talk
there.
about it.
Yeah,
She'll get there.
So that is important that this movie, we had a few in a row where there wasn't too many that made a difference, but those 4 people have moved up significantly in the blocks.
Yeah.
So
What do you guys think about Dallas's
enough.
reaction to all this and kind of going cuckoo?
I mean, it's him kind of losing it. It doesn't feel like a I'm losing it kind of thing. It seems more he's just doing wild stuff. I don't know. It just seems like he's doing unhinged things, not that he became unhinged. You know what I mean? There's a difference to me. I don't
they're
know.
trying
see
to
what
play
you're
it.
saying.
They're trying to play it off like Johnny's death was the thing that sent him over the edge. But it's
Yeah.
like, but I didn't believe that there was like this big relationship between him and Johnny anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that, but it is kind of affirming to me that the two sides of like that masculinity kind of, you
Yep.
know, in touch with your emotions, like Ponyboy, you know, is more internal with it, and then obviously Dallas is way more external in a, you know, life or death situation kind of way.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that makes it seem like they have more of a connection than some of the other guys is that honestly, we just get more screen time with them together.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
really all it is. I mean, that's the only thing we have to go off of. I don't know. Again, I feel like sometimes these scenes, just these important scenes, these kind of dire scenes, these desperate scenes, tend to be just a little fast. And I think that Dallas getting shot by the police is kind of one of them.
Yeah.
I think it is. I think it's a little bit washed over, unfortunately. I think that's a bummer. So.
And I think in the original cut, it basically goes from him being shot to like Ponyboy sitting at home writing his thing, right?
I'm pretty sure. We don't get much
What is the climax of this movie? Is it the Rumble? Is it Dally dying? Like it's a weird structure and format of this movie.
It felt like in the original cut they wanted the climax, like whoever was saying no, this needs to be shorter. They wanted the climax to be the Rumble.
Yeah, but
That's what they wanted it to be.
But it really isn't, because you have so
It's
much
not.
left. You know, like and
The
why is
structure feels like a novel, is what it feels like.
yeah, well, yeah, right. And it's like they didn't adapt it to movie
Right.
version. But yeah, I mean, you get Ponyboy on trial for what? I don't even fucking know. Like, I mean, why is he on trial?
Accessory, just because he
I
was
guess.
Yeah, an accessory because
Hey, sorry you were almost killed, but you might go to jail.
You were unconscious while all this happened.
Yeah, you're probably going to go to jail.
Oh, you were getting drowned? Oh, well, that's not going to look good for you.
That
Shoot.
means you have no recollection of what happened.
What's that? So,
that seems psychotic to me.
well, we'd like to call our next witness. And please, for the record, your name is Sherry Valance. Yep, that's correct. But your nickname is Cherry. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Nice. Okay.
I got a chance.
You are absolved of all
yeah.
jail time. You're absolved of all
Alright.
jail time, but your sentence is you need to do an episode of Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
Because you need to really talk all these things out. And, well, we're going to have to make him exist here soon. So
That's fair.
I did read a couple funny things that if you look at the poster for the film, kind of iconic, all the greasers are laughing
Yeah.
and Johnny's smirking. I think that's hilarious. Apparently this candid shot was taken during a photo session where the actors were supposed to look tough. But what happened is that Leif Garrett, who played Bob, who was the most famous person other than maybe Tom Waits at this time.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, Leif Garrett walked in and went to a table, and Ralph said, "Hey, Leif, that's for the talent." And apparently, that just cracked up everybody.
Yeah.
Snapped the photo like moment in time. I thought that was pretty cool.
it's awesome.
And we thought, I don't know what happened here. We thought Nick Cage was apparently in this movie, but I guess he was at some point.
He was in the Rumble too. Flea was there.
Yeah.
They were hanging out.
But apparently he did audition for the role of either Derry or Dallas. He did some method acting for the part by locking himself in a room for 2 weeks, drinking beer and staring at a photograph of Charles Bronson, hoping that the physical and mental attitude of playing a thug would rub off on him. The director happens to be Cage's uncle, Francis Ford Coppola.
That's right,
Turned
yeah.
him down and told him to audition for the part of 2-Bit. At this point, Cage was so fed up with all his hard work, which ended up being in vain, he walked away from
That's
the
my
project.
boy. That's my boy. You got better shit to do,
That's
Cage.
right.
Don't
Fuck
worry, bro.
yeah.
We got you. We got you next week, Nick Cage. We thought we were doing our thing, our little crossover thing in the middle of the month. We failed miserably, and it's
Yeah.
okay.
Hey, we got some Swayze, you know.
We got
We got
plenty
some
of
extra Swayze, and I loved it. In fact,
And-
real quick on Swayze, since he's going out of our month here, I liked him a lot as Derry. But again, I just would have liked to have had more of his backstory and more of like the craziness that he's gone through of
Yeah.
being a Soch, and then his parents dying, and then him having to take over his delinquent brothers and raise them. Like, it just seemed like a wasted. The storyline was wasted on other things.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing the book deals with all that. But
Sure.
you know what was great about the movie? No reading.
Oh, right. Oh, shoot. I put on subtitles. Closed
I
captions.
did like Swayze in this a lot. Like, he was actually really good and really convincing as like kind of a more father figure,
Yep.
older brother kind of thing. And we'll miss him.
He's done. I think he did a great job in that, and especially obviously in the complete novel. If you haven't picked that up at this point, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. It's the way to watch this movie in that way, and so you can at least get some sort of character development and some sort of like understanding of where the characters are coming from. And I think that again, it even actually ends, I think, even better too, because it goes back to him finding that note. Again, I'm not sure if he knew it was there, if it's just him kind of rereading it again. And it goes back to him picking up the pen again, writing the line again. And it goes, I actually really, really love that shot of them bringing it back to them walking out of the movie theater,
Which you don't see in the original.
which you don't see in the original in either side. You don't
Nope.
see it, and they cut the line short. They don't even say the movie
I
theater.
know.
And, like, it absolutely blows my mind, guys. And I think that it's a great way to be able to end this movie is right back kind of where it started, and kind of let it relive its moment in time. That's the way it felt to me. And if you're watching the original, I don't know how you're getting through it so often. So yeah.
Well, we have dissected The Outsiders with the modern eye. It is time to talk about it with modern day ratings. Sean, I believe you're up first. What do you think about this one, man?
This is kind of difficult because of the multiple cuts of this movie and it being adapted from a novel and it not being the novel itself some of the times, and maybe the complete novel version is the complete novel version but not the complete novel version. I don't know what to think anymore. And I don't know. Reading about this and how Francis like got this movie it just I don't know. It seemed like more of a just okay, I'll do it kind of thing rather than like, oh fuck yeah, I'll do it. Like charmed by that letter with the students that said they wanted him to make the movie. That would probably charm anybody. But I don't know if his heart was in it. I don't know if this is really his kind of movie to make. I think it looks great. I think the acting is passable for me. I like seeing all these people together. Obviously, that's the highlight of the movie. I do think this like the tone and the direction wise is just kind of off. I think that he was kind of going for, like I said, that late 50s, early 60s kind of feel. And I'm not sure that was the direction to go. I think the direction to go was more that kind of Gone with the Wind look. I think the direction to go was more of like the surfer 60s, late 60s kind of thing.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, and so like it pains me because I'm not. It's hard to even consider this like a movie that I watched. Because I don't know if I did. I don't.
And that's the shit of it.
For what it is and for what's there and for what I did watch, I think it's a fine movie, and I think that I get the point across. It gets the point across quite a bit for me, and maybe in some, more melodramatic ways than I really care for. But I mean, it's a fine movie. I'm gonna go 5.9.
5.9. Age. What about you, man?
This is hard because, again, I said it near the beginning, and I'm going to stick true to that. A lot of most of what I'm saying and what I want to remember and think about this movie is the complete novel version, and that could be blasphemy to some people, and it could also be blasphemy to say that the music of it changed it for me in a positive way, for the complete novel version too. Having that additional surfer music in a place where there are no beaches, whether it be Nebraska or Oklahoma, there's no beaches. Okay, guys, there's no surf music is piped in from the coast, right? And that's what they're living in. And so, but if I had to, on that note, I feel like if this movie was an episode or like a meal, I've been watching a lot of Top Chef lately, and I was judging this like Top Chef, I would be saying, I really enjoyed this, like your characters and stuff. I wish I had more of it. Okay? Because it's just what we said about Patrick Swayze, Tom Cruise, honestly, even Emilio Estevez, all these guys, Rob Lowe, all these guys, all this amazing talent, all this amazing story that we didn't get told that's happening while they're at the church, what's happening in town, getting character development, getting story, getting more plot, getting more behind the scenes, getting more more out of this movie. How do you just sit there and beg for more out of this movie? And that's kind of the disappointing thing. That being said, I really, really enjoyed watching the complete novel version, and I might be biased on that because of how much I just couldn't follow and get into the original cut. Mm-hmm. And so getting to watch more of what I actually wanted, it made it that much better. This is really tough for me because I really wanted this to be like in the high 7s for me, right? I think I've got to give this, I can't believe it. I don't know. I think I'm going to have to give this this is a 6.85.
6.85 for AJ. I'm 100% judging this on the original release because in 2005 is when they released the original novel. Yeah. That does not fucking count. You cannot say no, this is the movie now. You're not allowed to do that. It's like taking Green Day Dookie and 20 years later being like, actually, you know what? No, time out. We're pulling some of those songs out and we're adding these songs and we're remastering it and we're changing the artwork and we're going to do this. And now this is Dookie.
And by the way,
from here on out, this is Dookie and it will be Dookie forever.
Yeah, you're
right. And
you
just can't do that. And I just did not enjoy this movie at all. And I hate the fact that I almost didn't watch the complete novel.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know there was a difference.
I don't even know what I watched.
And Sean doesn't even know. So, guys, I'm a 4.6 on this. I just, it should have been so much better than it was. We got to go to executive producer Bud Larson. He said, I had to rent this. The movie has some huge names in it. Matt Dillon, C. Thomas Howell, Patrick Swayze, Rob Lowe, Tom Cruise, Emilio Estevez. I like the way the movie starts out telling you who everyone is. I vaguely remember the scene at the drive-in theater. Why are girls hiding in the trunk? Those were the times.
My mom did that.
Those were the times. Yeah. I thought you paid per vehicle. I've only been to a drive-in a few times in my life. I think they were all gone by the time Rona hit. That's very true. Actually, then they came back, but yeah. I love how 2-Bit is always joking around and messing with the socias, picking on the socias for wearing high-water pants. He's always drinking a Budweiser, like when he drinks one with a chocolate cake towards the end of the movie. The scene where Tim is on the couch reading the paper, who does that? As the movie continued slowly, the movie came back to me. The Rumble was a pretty good fight scene. I would watch this again. I did hear that Coppola put the author S.E. Hinton in the movie. She was the nurse who was with Daly. Most punchable face was Paul. Who's Paul?
Paul was the other social.
Okay,
the one that talks to Pony Boy.
Nope, I actually agree with that.
Yeah,
I thought Paul, by the way, was the kid in Caddyshack who shows up at the yacht christening.
Oh,
I thought that's who that was.
No,
it's not.
He's been in something else.
He's been in a few. I didn't see much. Who graduates from high school and goes to fight with a rival gang and wears their Letterman coat? Prop from the movie, the DX gas station button-up shirt. That's a good one. Modern day rating, he's going to be high. He's going to be a 6.8 on this. So he's going to even me out a little bit. He's going to average out with AJ. That's a 6.04 for us on this movie, which is going to take it pretty low, fellas. That's going to be just below Heavyweights, Twister, and Road Trip, and just above Boondock Saints, Waterworld, and Running Man is how we feel about that.
Surpass Waterworld.
It is better than Waterworld and Boondock Saints. You'll be happy to know about that.
Wow.
Well, that was a bit of a tough one. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Sometimes it's not great on our full thoughts on the movie, but you got to do it. We're here to talk about it with a modern day rating. So go back and look at it, decide which version you want, and also tune in next week. May of Swayz, UnCaged, moves into cage territory.
You bet.
We're hitting Face Off.
You bet.
And followed up with that, we're closing the month out with National Treasure. Mm-hmm. If you're new to the podcast, go back this time last year. It was May of Bay UnCaged, and we were doing The Rock. That was our transitional movie, getting them both together.
Bay
so
and
please
Cage.
Go check that out.
Wowzers. Go check it all out, guys. Go check us out. Don't check us out. You know what? Check all the movie stars out who were in this movie, actually. They're doing great things now. Thank you guys so much for listening. Check us out on social media at Confused Breakfast. Check out Confused Breakfast anywhere on social media. Leave us a review on any platform that you're listening on. For God's sake, subscribe, because most people don't even subscribe to the shows they listen to. And you know what? We're on YouTube. You can see us on YouTube at a studio. That might change in the near future. Check it out.
ConfusedBreakfast.com as well to see the merch that we have. You can see shirts. You can get some hats. I think you can get some stickers. You can get some koozies. All right?
Hair grease.
It has some hair grease. Get it there. The same damn
Confused
website.
Breakfast Pomade.
To see
Cool.
ConfusedBreakfast.com to see the ratings of the movies that we have covered. You can see our individual ratings as well as the show's overall ratings. Thank you. Goodbye. I love you.
We are produced by Upload Media Group in Cedar Rapids. Logan on the controls at 11 o'clock at night on a Monday. Woo! And we are on the Cloud 10 network. Please check more out at cloud10.fm. That's it for us. Goodbye.
Stay gold, everyone.
Stay gold. Green. Gold. No, gold.